this is her. This is who we're doing tonight. Okay, and what we're doing is we're gonna break up these lines. If you think about breaking up a haircut, because sometimes the lines can get way too hard, so sometimes we don't want hard lines, right? So we have to learn how to fix those lines. If a line turns out too hard when we're cutting horizontally, because remember, horizontal lines add weight. So always remember that. Horizontal lines add weight. Vertical lines remove weight. We did use vertical lines in this haircut, but we used a flat scissor edge. Okay? So a flat scissor edge is simply you're cutting straight that way or straight that way. Okay? There's no notching and there's no point cutting. Okay? So just remember that. Whenever you use a flat edge with the shear, you're going to get a flat line, a blunt line. Okay? So if you use the tip of your shear, you'll get a little bit of you can break it up. You'll get like a jagged edge. Okay? And that is what will remove your hard lines. Okay? So see those lines right there? Okay? If I want her hair to be softer, it gets a little softer. Okay? I'm going to have to go in there and point cut her hair, okay? Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's try and see. And you can do this on all your clients that want a softer look, okay? All right. I don't so much do this if the person is wearing their hair curly. I do this when the person is wearing their hair straight, okay? There's no need to do this on a curly, on curly hair, okay? But there is a need to do this on straight hair because straight hair is going to show all of your lines. Curly hair is not. Okay, curly hair is not going to show all your lines. Straight hair is going to show all your lines. And guess what? If it's colored, it's going to show more. It's going to show all of your mistakes. So I think that doing point cutting is so important for a finishing technique that I think everybody should learn that, okay, to point cut, all right? So I point cut on dry hair, okay? So remember that when you point cut, it is a finishing technique. I do suggest to put the shape in first and then go back and point cut or notch or use your razor if you want to break something up. Okay, so I look at it as a finishing technique. All right. So the way I cut this young lady's hair is I did a bob. I did graduation in the back, and I also did increased layering, okay, on the sides, okay. And so her hair is heavy here. School teaches 4 sections. You can do this in 4 sections. Not every school teaches 4 sections, but I know Pivot Point teaches 4 sections. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to separate her hair there. As you can see, I'm parting this from ear to ear. I'm going to come underneath here and part her hair from ear to ear across the nape. And you'll see that it's easier for me to handle when I part it like that. So easy to get a hold. Yes, it is. Isn't it? Oh my gosh. So from ear to ear, across the nape area, and you'll see it's right below the occipital bone. That's how I like to deal with my nape. I like to go right underneath the occipital bone, which the occipital bone is right there. I'm going to clip that away. Now somebody say, Rhonda, okay, why do you have to go through all that? I don't. But when I'm teaching it, I do. I'm going to take her hair. I'm going to pull out, straight out at a 90-degree angle. Straight out. And I'm going to point cut. Okay, so all you're doing is breaking that up. All you're doing is breaking it up. Breaking up the ends. Just breaking up the ends. Making sure that you're not removing a lot of hair. Right? Not removing a lot of hair. You're just going straight in. Straight in. If you know someone who needs to see this, make sure that you share. I'm on the classroom. Call your friends. Like put their names in. If you know somebody who needs to see it, put their name in. Okay? This is a finishing technique. Put your shape in first. That way, you won't get confused and you won't mess up your shape. Okay? So this makes it a little softer. Okay? You can also, I'll go at 0 degrees. You can also do it that way, just to break it up. Okay? Okay, that's breaking that up a little. Like I said, this is super important for softness. If someone has hard lines and they don't want hard lines, it can look very harsh, especially say you're doing an older person's hair. If you're doing an older person's hair, make sure that they have soft lines, because remember that if you soften up the lines, it softens up their face, it softens up their whole look. Okay, so remember that about softening up your lines. So now we're going to take the next section, which is the parietal ridge, and that's the widest part of the head. So with this haircut, I did the midsection vertical. Okay, so I'm going to point cut that vertically. Okay, you can point cut this horizontally also. Okay, but I'm just going to show you how you can point cut that and soften up those lines, because like I said, it can make a person look very harsh, okay, if you have too many hard lines, okay? As you can see, look how it's getting softer. Look how it's getting softer. If you can see that hard line there, yes. And so, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to soften the line. Still the same shape, but softening the line. Okay? Remember, these are finishing techniques. And these can take your haircuts from good to great. Yeah, from good to great. Your haircut can be good, but if you learn finishing techniques, they can be great. Same shape, removing the hard lines. That's how we do it. People wonder, oh my God, how does it look like that? How does it look so blended and so nice and smooth? Well, this is how we do it. This is how we do it. Okay, I'm taking that. See the weight in that? Okay. All we're going to do is go in there. Do you see how I'm closing my shear? I'm closing my shear as I go out. I'm closing my shear as I go out. I'm not closing my shear where I can get blood. I'm closing my shear as I go out, as I go out, as I go out. Okay? Gonna do this all the way across as I go out. See how our hair is curling? Well, I'm gonna move my fingers where the hair is going. This is dry cutting techniques. Okay. See how different it looks? It looks nice and really smooth and blended. Okay, we're gonna come over here to the side. Notice how heavy that is because it was cut with the straight edge. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna soften that edge as I go out. Closing your shear as you go out. Haircutting is about using your eye, using your naked eye to see what needs to be softened. Okay? If you can see the difference now, there's a big difference, right? If you remember how it looked before and how it looks now, see that? That's very different, right? Because I'm using a finishing technique. Remember, when you see people online or when you see beautiful haircuts that are blended and just look seamless, this is what they do. They're called finishing techniques. It's point cutting. It's razoring. It's using the thinning shears. It's notching. It's slithering. It's all kinds of different techniques that people use for finishing techniques, okay? And see, remember, Jayton, I did not change the shape. I softened the shape. So remember that when you put that shape in, when you do your finishing techniques, you don't want to change the shape. You just want to soften the shape. Okay? So I'll do the next section. And I also did this section with vertical partings. Okay? I did the nape area with horizontal partings. I did the next two sections, section 2 and section 3, with vertical partings. Okay? So we'll do that. So in some places you'll hear people call a haircut a hair shaping, because that's what it is. We shape the hair to fit your face. And, people wonder, oh my gosh, why you charge so much for a haircut? Why you do this? Why you do that? Because I'm shaping your face. I'm shaping your face your hair to fit your face. And not a lot of people can do that. I encourage you to learn how to use this. I encourage you to learn how to use this. If you learn how to use this, you'll never be broke again. You know why? Because that's all it takes is this and this. That's all. You don't need products. You don't need anything. All you need is this and this. Going up to the third section, I'm going to do the exact same thing. Okay? I'm going to point cut that. I'm not changing her shape at all, because I'm going straight in and softening her hard lines. Okay? Okay, check that out. You see how that's coming together? Isn't that beautiful? Let's go to the next section over here, vertical section. Come here. I see hard lines right there, okay? Okay, so go straight in and make sure you are softening those lines. Remember, you're closing your shear as you go out. Closing your shear as you go out, okay? You don't want to hurt yourself, okay? Would you do the same technique on someone's very thick hair? Yes, I sure would. More so with them, because you can see a lot of hard lines when you do someone's hair this thick. Yes, definitely. Same thing here. I'm going to come in here and soften these lines. Finishing techniques will be your best friend once you learn them. It takes your haircut from good to great. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Let's do the other side. If you can see how this haircut is coming together, let me know if you can see how this haircut is coming together, because I can see a big difference. I wanted to show you all this because I think it's very important, and I think it's a part of hair cutting. I actually think it's a big part of hair cutting. Okay? So we're going to come and do our last section in the back and bring it over so I can see. Okay, and we're point cutting, going straight in, not changing the shape at all. If we notched it, we would change the shape. Okay, because that will be removing a lot of hair. Okay, there we go. All right, look at that. That's looking good, right? That's looking very good. Nice and blended. This is important. You do want your client to go to the store after she gets her hair done, because everybody will say, who did your hair? That's what we want. That's what we want. You can go further and further with this, you know? You can go further and further. You can take your shear, you can notch underneath. You can point cut underneath. Okay? You can make sure this, you can actually razor that. Okay? These are finishing techniques. Okay? So look at the side of her. Okay, the side of her is beautiful, right? She does have a beautiful shape to her hair. Okay, her hair has a beautiful shape, but we can soften that line. We can soften that line. Okay, so what we're going to do is soften that line. And I'm going to continue with vertical partings, softening her lines. Remember, you're going out with your shears so you don't hurt yourself. See how I'm turning my hand? Okay. Put that way. And I'm also not overwhelming myself with a lot of hair. I'm not overwhelming myself. I'm taking section by section. I'm not overwhelming myself. Okay. That line was broken up pretty nicely. We'll take this section down and we'll do this section too. Make sure we're point cutting. And I'm going to let that fall just like that. And I'm going to come in here and point cut. And release some weight. Ooh, my shears need to be sharpened. All right. Working out beautifully. So see how it's a little more blended? That is how we want it. So now we'll go to the other side. And we'll do the exact same thing. Belle knocked on the door. It's funny. Okay, so we'll take that. Look how heavy that is. That's pretty heavy. So we'll go in there and we'll break that up a bit. Because that's what's going to make the hair fall so nicely. Okay. Okay, let's do this. Remember, you can have a good haircut, but in order to take it from good to great, you'll have to learn finishing techniques, okay? Breaking those lines up a little. Is there any questions for me before I get off tonight? I hope that you learned something tonight. And thank you for always joining on Friday nights at 9 o'clock with me. Getting down to business with Rhonda. That's what we call it. Tonight we went over finishing techniques. Thanks to everyone so much for tuning in. Yes, thank you so much, Jayton. Okay, I'm going to go down here. And I'm going to, oh yeah, we have a hard line down here. We want to break that up a bit. Okay. It's all about breaking those lines up. We don't want any hard lines. Oh yeah. I think that we have a nice smooth blended haircut. It was smooth before, but it wasn't as smooth because we had hard lines. So now we have nice blended ends, and it looks a lot more put together. It looks a lot more smooth. Okay. Thank you. And she has her money piece up here. So it goes beautiful with her bob. Okay. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. Have a good night. And I will see you next week on Friday at 9 o'clock. Okay?